My beloved child, while your heart ached with anticipation and your prayers seemed to fall into silent echoes, I was quietly shaping a reality that would leave you utterly speechless. But love, like stillness, is not a mere action. It is a complex and intricate design. Every moment you waited became a thread woven carefully into the fabric of your future, crafted with deliberate care by my hands. I did not disregard your cries. I gathered each one, using them as the mortar to build something sacred and enduring. I did not forget your petitions. Rather, I multiplied them, watering them in my perfect timing so they would bloom with divine purpose. While you measured time by what you lacked, I measured it by what I was creating on your behalf. I allowed seasons of quiet, not because I wanted you to settle for surface-level answers, but because I needed to build depth. I was arranging people, places, and events. Some you may never fully comprehend, but all were essential for the arrival of something that could only be birthed in the unseen. I was crafting an answer that does not merely satisfy your request, but transforms your very identity. Sometimes I do not remove the burdens immediately because I am strengthening you. Sometimes I delay the path so you can discover direction within yourself that you never knew existed. And sometimes I withhold the visible so your faith can grasp what is invisible. Not all victories come announced with fanfare. Some arrive as whispers, others come like avalanches. But this one, the breakthrough I am about to release, has been assembled piece by piece beneath your doubts and above your fears. Even when you questioned if I was present, I never moved an inch away from you. When you thought I was late, I was actually early, preparing something no human has seen and no earthly timeline could predict. The breakthrough you hoped for is only a fragment of what I have planned. I have never been interested in giving you temporary fixes. My aim has always been eternal transformation. You wanted a door to open. I was building an entirely new realm for you to step into. You longed for peace. I was laying the foundation for lasting joy. That is why I did not reveal it to you early. Had I shown it too soon, your focus might have shifted toward the outcome rather than the relationship. If I had answered as you imagined, your vision might have remained limited. But I love you too deeply to let you settle for shallow expectations. I concealed my greatest work, not to frustrate you, but to astonish you. I desired your spirit to be stunned in awe, not because of what happened, but because of who made it happen. Now, as the veil begins to lift and light breaks through the cracks, you will witness what I have been carefully forming. It will defy earthly logic and appear suddenly, but it has been growing steadily for a long time. When you encounter what I have set in motion, you will realize that your waiting was not wasted. It was sacred. Trust me when I say this is no random blessing. It is not luck or coincidence. It is divine fulfillment on a grand scale. You may have thought I was silent, but I was singing over you with songs of deliverance. You may have felt forgotten, but I have engraved your name upon the palms of my hands. Every tear, every moment of confusion, every prayer spoken in weariness, it has all led to this. You are about to step into something unexpected, not because you weren't searching, but because it could not be seen with natural eyes. This was prepared in realms beyond human understanding and preserved for such a time as this. So breathe, beloved. The storm did not drown you, it prepared you. The silence did not defeat you, I strengthened you. And now this breakthrough will not just meet your need, it will proclaim my glory through your life. My beloved child, the words you whispered in quiet moments were never ignored. You came to me with questions, yearning, and relentless longing for clarity. Yet what I was orchestrating could not be captured by simple explanations. You asked for direction, and I answered with transformation. What you expected as a step forward I turned into a leap beyond all understanding. I heard every cry, but I responded in a language higher than human comprehension, a divine shift that cannot be explained, only experienced. While your mind searched for patterns and logic, I ignited a change that could not fit within your framework of expectation. I didn't respond with what you predicted. I chose to answer with what would elevate you. There were moments when you thought I was silent, but I was moving in ways your soul had never encountered before. The shift I set in motion required no permission, only your trust. When it arrives, it will transform not only your circumstances, but your entire environment. The world teaches you to expect results in familiar forms, but I move through dimensions untouched by repetition. You asked me to illuminate your path. Instead, I rewired your direction entirely. You sought a solution. I breathed new identity into your very core. You hoped for resolution. I brought redirection. I did not delay to punish you. I paused to launch you. This sudden shift is not meant to confuse you, but to lift you from the ordinary into the sacred unknown. You stood on the edge, expecting the next step to resemble the last, but I have no intention of repeating old patterns. The elevation I bring does not mirror past progress. It comes abruptly, yet it is the fruit of every unseen seed sown in faith and every decision made in obedience when no reward was visible. This turning point is divine in origin, not born of effort, but birthed from surrender. This moment where my intervention seems like interruption is, in truth, the recalibration of everything around you to align with a destiny too profound for human design. I caused certain things to end suddenly, so what is eternal in you could finally begin. I closed some paths to open others that had not yet appeared on your map. You did not lose control. You handed it over to me. Now I direct with divine precision. You thought answers would come quietly, perhaps in conversation, confirmation, or a gently opening door. But I planned something that would rearrange your very expectations. What comes now will not walk in. It will rush in. It will sweep through the familiar and establish the supernatural. It will feel as if you are being carried, not just walking. It will feel like time itself bends in your favor. This is no typical blessing. It is my uncontainable mercy bursting into your reality. I know this is not what you imagined, and it may feel disorienting at first. But this is exactly how breakthroughs arrive when they are divinely designed. No warning, only fulfillment. No preparation, only positioning. You prayed for peace, and I sent a wave that will carry you into realms of joy beyond human explanation. You asked for assurance, and I gave you evidence so vivid it cannot be denied. You are not being swept away. You are being launched. You are not shaken. You are set apart. Alignments are forming now that you never prayed for, because I see what you cannot yet imagine. I'm calling forth voices to speak for you, hands to help you, and doors that recognize you. All of it is coming not because you forced it, but because you trusted me when nothing made sense. This shift will alter not only your story, but the lives connected to your obedience. Your faith was not in vain. Your patience was not pointless. I was never idle. I was working at a level beyond earthly signs. Now, as this sacred momentum unfolds, you will see that I not only heard your prayers, I answered them in ways you never could have expected. I know there were times when my quietness felt like distance, when your spirit grew weary from waiting in shadows that seemed immovable. You mistook stillness for absence. But I was there, closer than ever, crafting a revelation that required silence as its foundation. I was not ignoring you. I was orchestrating the unseen. I was not withholding answers. I was building a triumph that would catch even your expectations off guard. In the quiet, I prepared a stage so majestic that if you had glimpsed even part of it, your heart could not contain the wonder. I withdrew the noise of the world so you could be positioned to witness the divine unfolding of something beyond your imagination. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. My silence was not a pause in power, but the sacred calm before an eruption of destiny. I allowed you to stand in quiet places, not to break you, but to build within you a resilience no storm could dismantle. When the world seemed to move on without you, I was aligning elements in your favor. People, opportunities, resources, each placed with precision, every step bringing you closer to a scene that will tell my story through your life. You didn't see the preparation, but now you will walk straight into the reward. There is a reason I did not allow things to manifest when you expected them to. The celebration about to emerge from your journey could only happen after you endured a silence that trained your heart to recognize my whisper. Had you received what you asked for immediately, you might have thought it came from your strength. But this victory, this breakthrough, is clearly marked with my signature. It will be undeniable, unmistakable, unforgettable. I set the scene not for a small unveiling, but for a moment where your obedience, even in confusion, will be vindicated. This is not merely about reaching a destination. It is about showcasing what I can do with a heart that remains faithful, even when there is no applause, no light, no sound. I watched you remain steady. I saw your tears fall with no audience to comfort you. Now I will reward you openly for all you endured in the quiet. This surprise victory will arrive without warning or buildup because it needs none. It is not the result of chance or timing. It is the manifestation of a divine strategy I've been executing while you wondered if anything was moving at all. I was not standing still. I was anchoring you. I was not waiting. I was weaving glory into every thread of your circumstance. Now I unveil it, and the world will see what faithfulness in obscurity produces when touched by my hand. You will not just be lifted, you will be recognized, not by the standards of the world, but by the radiance of favor only I can place upon you. Your name will be spoken in places you thought unreachable. What once seemed locked will open, not by force but by divine timing. What once appeared beyond repair will flourish again, not by human effort, but by my breath bringing it back to life. Let them wonder how it happened. Let them question why it happened now. You owe no explanations. This victory is your testimony. The answer, silence kept hidden, the beauty that sprouted in darkness, the harvest that bloomed after countless nights of uncertainty. Now, child, you will not only see the promise, you will walk in it. The stage is no longer empty. The curtain is drawing back. The spotlight shining now will not blind you. It will reveal the faith that grew unseen, the hope that survived every delay, the love that never let you go. Prepare to step forward, not timidly, but with holy boldness. Your victory is not coming, it has arrived, and it was worth every silent moment. Had I revealed everything too soon, your confidence might have rested on what was visible. But I wanted something stronger for you, an unwavering trust that does not lean on sight, a quiet conviction thriving even when nothing seems to change. That is why I allowed stillness to stretch across your days. I was not delaying joy, I was teaching your soul to recognize me even in silence. Many grow when things are moving, but few are willing to be shaped while standing still. Yet this is where the deepest roots form. In the stillness, I taught your spirit to hear differently, to listen not just with ears, but with heart. I led you to places where no voice but mine could be heard, not to isolate you, but so you could see what only silence reveals. Still, this was not punishment. It was sacred ground, a classroom without walls, where your faith was not graded by actions but by surrender. I saw you press on, not with loud declarations but with quiet persistence. I saw you believe, not with grand gestures, but with whispered prayers behind closed doors. These moments were not small to me. They were magnificent, proof that your faith matured beyond emotion into steady trust. You didn't see this turning point coming because you were growing in ways not tracked by time or calendars. While the world looked for signs and speed, I refined your endurance, your patience, and your trust in my process without needing to control the outcome. You were not overlooked, you were cultivated. I slowed the pace so your discernment could sharpen. I stopped certain things so your eyes could open wider to what I was truly doing. In stillness, I was not just shaping your future, I was transforming your perception. You began to realize my timing doesn't rush and my love does not retreat. Lessons cannot be learned in moments of motion. They are understood when everything pauses and my voice becomes the only steady sound. Stillness is not stagnation, it is strategy. I hid you in plain sight so your character could rise before your platform. I silenced noise so you could recognize the subtle ways I guide you. In the place where nothing moved, you moved closer to me. That closeness became your strength, your shield, your secret refuge. While others chased glitter, you stayed with me and found what glows with eternal purpose. Because you endured the quiet, I now trust you with the next unveiling. You are no longer shaken by delays because you've seen what forms in waiting. You are no longer discouraged by pauses because you treasure the pace of my hands over the pressure of expectations. Now you're ready, not because circumstances are perfect, but because your spirit is. Your faith no longer depends on activity, it breathes trust. You have grown into someone who walks confidently, not because of what's ahead, but because you know who walks beside you. That is why this next chapter will not overwhelm you. It will feel like a continuation, not an interruption. You have been prepared not by movement, but by depth. You no longer look for signs of my presence, you carry it. You don't just ask for my will, you have aligned with it. That is what stillness has done for you. It has shaped you into someone unmoved by noise or chaos, moved only by me. Now, my child, watch what blooms from this soil. What seemed dormant is about to flower. What was hidden will be celebrated. You didn't see this coming, but I did. Now that your faith has grown in the quiet, I can entrust you with what comes with the sound of breakthrough. I know how long you waited. I have seen hours melt into days, days into seasons, where hope turned into weariness. You looked ahead seeking relief, but saw only pauses and stalled progress. Yet, in all that waiting, there was no waste. Every delay and purpose, what seemed a detour, was a protective layer wrapped in mystery. The delays were not meant to discourage. They shielded you from what was not yet ready for you. The blessings appointed for your life carry specific weight and purpose. For them to prosper, they must meet you in the right condition at the perfect time when all is aligned. If they came too soon, they would feel incomplete, perhaps even burdensome. But I paused time to prepare the stage fully. While your eyes stayed on what hadn't arrived, I finalized details that not only meet your needs, but reflect my glory. These gifts need no announcement or applause. They carry their own revelation. They require no crowd or confirmation. They arrive on my schedule, accompanied by divine timing. You could not foresee them because I sent them through doors only I could open. Doors marked not by human plans, but heavenly intent. Had you rushed, you might have received something partial. But I know what you need. Something complete and lacking nothing. Instead of letting you settle for fragments, I created silence to protect you from distractions that would have kept you from fullness. In delays, I matured you. In pauses, I preserved you. In stillness, I prepared to release what could only appear when the atmosphere was perfectly aligned. You asked why things moved slowly, but I was working beyond the clock. I was fitting together hearts, paths, and circumstances. I was softening the ground for what would take root and bear fruit for generation. What is coming will not just fill your present, but overflow into the future, touching places you haven't yet walked into. That's why the timing had to be sacred. This blessing is unlike anything you've experienced before. It will not echo past seasons. It carries a new fragrance, fresh sound, and a different weight of grace. It comes unannounced so that when it arrives, you will know it was not earned or engineered. It is something only I could deliver. There will be no warning, only wonder. No preparation, only presence. It will enter your life when you least expect it, not as a reaction to effort, but as a response to surrender. The reason you didn't see it coming is that it wasn't sent on your timetable. It was appointed according to my heart. When it touches your life, you'll understand why it took so long. I hid this gift until now because you needed space to grow into the one who could carry it with wisdom. I delayed not to discourage, but to develop you. The blessing was not the only thing being prepared. You were too. Now that you have been shaped by patience, refined by quiet endurance, and rooted in trust, I release what has been waiting for you all along. There will be no public announcement, but your spirit will recognize it. It will slip past noise and land in the place your soul has long hoped for. Others may not understand, but you will. Because you endured the delay, you will receive this blessing without fear, doubt, or striving. It will feel as if it was always meant for you, because it was. Are you ready, my child? What you thought was denied is about to be delivered. What seemed forgotten is about to find you. It will come quietly, but when it does, it will speak louder than any explanation ever could. I saw your heart begin to accept the stillness as the final answer. You stood quiet and unsure, wondering if anything would ever move again. The path seemed unchanged, the days unremarkable, the silence almost deafening. You told yourself, maybe this is it, maybe this is how it stays. But you did not realize that I was already working beneath the surface, crafting a shift so significant that when it breaks through, all that came before will feel like preparation. I work in places your eyes cannot see. I plant seeds in hidden soil, where no applause comes, where no one notices, but where miracles form. While your focus remained on what hadn't shifted, I rotated everything behind the curtain. I rewrote what seemed finished, reversed verdicts, rewrote endings, and restored what had been buried by discouragement. This turnaround began not with an announcement, but with a whisper from heaven and my word set in motion. You did not miss the moment. I simply concealed it so your faith could lead. You waited for a sound, but I sent a current. You expected movement in the obvious places, but I redirected the blessing through doors no one thought to check. This shift is not about being seen, it is about being changed. It is not about the spotlight, it is about the sacred restructuring of what you believed could never rise again. I started the turnaround when you felt furthest from progress. I chose that moment so you would know transformation does not always knock. It arrives while you are still weary. I move most profoundly when hope seems weakest, because that is when you recognize change came not from effort but from grace. I let the pace feel slow, so the shift would be unmistakably mine. You will know it was not coincidence, it was divine interruption. I am not just adjusting your surroundings, I am flipping the entire equation. The patterns that worked against you will now work for you. The weight that tried to crush you will lift you instead. The voices that ignored you will now call your name with honor. What seemed far beyond reach will unfold in ways you could never have planned. The atmosphere is bending in your favor, and it began the moment you surrendered, not the moment you saw it. The turnaround was not meant to start with celebration. It was designed to begin in humility. While the world chased noise, you stood quietly. While others demanded answers, you kept walking. A decision, invisible to many, activated a sequence of divine reactions in the unseen realm. I saw it, I honored it, and now that quiet endurance has invited unstoppable movement into your life. Do not be surprised when doors you stopped knocking on swing open without resistance. Do not be alarmed when things start aligning you never planned. The favor coming now is not based on hustle. It is the result of your posture. You bowed in surrender, and now I lift you in victory. I am not just moving you forward. I am accelerating you beyond what delay tried to steal. The very areas where you felt stuck will become the fastest parts of your testimony. Your story will no longer sound like waiting. It will carry the sound of restoration. People will ask how it happened, and you will say, "It turned around when I least expected it." And that is exactly how I planned it. I wanted it so clear that no one else could claim the credit. Not luck, not timing, only my hand working where no one could reach. So prepare yourself, my child. The shift has already begun. What was once still is now alive. What seemed finished is unfolding. What held you back no longer resists the force of my promise. You are not returning to what was. You are stepping into what has never been. And it all started when you thought nothing was happening at all. I know how much you longed to see something, anything, that confirmed your hope was not in vain. You searched for signals, clues of progress, glimpses of my promise. But I chose to keep it hidden, not to confuse you, but to invite you into a higher trust, not built on evidence, but on relationship. You did not miss it. I simply covered it. I wrapped the blessing in layers of silence. Not because I was far from you, but because I wanted to lift your eyes upward, not outward. The journey I took you on was not about chasing signs. It was about developing sight beyond what can be measured or mapped. I did not want you to depend on predictable outcomes. I wanted your spirit to rely on me even when nothing seemed favorable. Had I revealed everything, you might have followed signs instead of my voice. You might have tied your belief to outcomes rather than intimacy with me. And I love you too much to let your faith remain shallow. So I veiled what was growing, not to discourage you, but to develop an unshakable trust. Trust anchored in my presence, not in patterns. While others sought direction in the visible, you kept walking without confirmation. That obedience is now the very reason the breakthrough can reach you fully. What you will experience could not be built on shallow reliance. It had to be formed in complete dependence. I allowed silence to cleanse your heart of all it once leaned on for comfort. I let you walk without clarity so you could discover the peace that comes only from my nearness. And while the world tells you to wait for proof before believing, I invited you to believe before any proof existed. And you did, with trembling hands, tear-stained prayers, and quiet faith. You pressed on. You stopped asking for signs and began seeking strength. A shift changed everything. You stepped into a depth. You chose to explore a place where trust moves without seeing the finish line. Know this: what I have hidden is not lost. It has been protected. Blessings meant for you were covered until your heart was ready to receive them with reverence. Not all promises are delayed due to resistance. Some are delayed for preparation. I was not just preparing the blessing, I was preparing you. And now, because you chose trust over signs, you will receive without striving. This is not about rewards. It is about alignment. You are now aligned with what I have planned all along. What I hid from your sight is about to be unveiled to your spirit. And when it comes, you will not need validation because you will know by how your soul responds. There will be a deep, unmistakable knowing that this is what I formed while you trusted in the dark. And the beautiful thing, child, is that you will carry this trust into every season ahead. You will not be shaken when silence returns. You will not doubt when signs are absent. You will remember that when I seemed silent, I was building. When nothing made sense, I was still sovereign. When everything was hidden, you were still seen. This trust we have built, it is not fragile. It walks through fog without fear. It praises before reason to celebrate. And now that you have grown in this strength, I can entrust you with more than you imagined. So my beloved, do not worry that you didn't see it coming. That was the point. I didn't want you to follow signs. I wanted you to follow me. And you did. And now, because of that, you will receive what only faith could unlock. And now that your spirit knows what it feels like to be overtaken by goodness, you will never lower your expectations again. You'll simply look at me and say, I didn't see this coming, but I knew you would. Everything that once seemed fixed is now shifting under the weight of my authority. The tides that look settled are reversing their flow. The dynamics that kept you waiting are collapsing. I'm not moving incrementally. I am moving in swift precision. The change you've been sensing in your spirit is not imaginary. It's real, and it's here. The tables that were once tilted against you are being reordered with justice in your favor. For too long, you felt stuck in patterns that appeared unshakable. You were surrounded by circumstances that didn't yield, timelines that didn't budge, and outcomes that seemed controlled by others. But now, in a moment that feels like any other, I am stepping in with divine acceleration. The shift won't announce itself with noise. It will simply happen, like breath returning after a long silence. What you once had to chase will now find its way to you. This is just a season of movement. It's a reversal. The very forces that oppose you are being silenced. What pushed against you before will now clear the way. I've overturned decisions made in places you couldn't reach. And I've spoken over situations that tried to silence your voice. You may not see the full picture yet, but the structure of what held you back is crumbling. I am leveling the imbalance that wore down your faith and placing you in a position where your peace will no longer be borrowed. It will be secured. Sudden, but sure. This moment may arrive quickly, but it has been crafted carefully. What's shifting now has been for me in secret, waiting for the precise moment to be released. And now, because the conditions are right, because your heart is steady and your ears are tuned to my voice, I am flipping the script. You will no longer be the one adjusting to others' timelines. I am putting you where you belong, at the center of the purpose I created for you. You thought you were moving slowly, but I was gathering momentum beneath the surface like a seed that pushes against the soil before breaking through the ground. Your journey was building energy in the unseen. And now, in what will feel like a blink, everything will tilt in your direction. Those who once dismissed you will turn their heads. Those who overlooked you will take notice. But your focus won't be on their reaction. It will be on my revelation. This turnaround is not based on public recognition. It's born from spiritual reordering. I am restoring balance where there was loss, placing value where there was disregard. You won't have to explain how it happened. The results will speak for themselves. But what once required constant effort will begin to move with ease. Not because the weight is gone, but because I've lifted your spirit to rise above it. And yes, it will be sudden. There won't be time to question it. You won't have to prepare a strategy or draft a plan. You'll simply step into what I've already completed. The suddenness is not meant to startle you. It's to remind you that I'm still the God of immediacy. The same way I calmed storms with one word, I can now change your atmosphere in one decision. Don't be alarmed when things begin shifting without explanation. Don't resist when what was familiar starts to fall away. I'm not removing comfort. I'm introducing clarity. The roles are changing. The atmosphere is responding. The future you thought was far away is now within reach. and it's happening faster than you imagined, because it's no longer about delay, it's about fulfillment. So steady your heart, my child. The change isn't coming, it's here. And from this point forward, you won't walk as one who waits, but as one who walks in the power of divine reversal. You've crossed a threshold where everything must now yield to my timing, not your surroundings. This is your moment, not to prove anything, but to receive what's been reserved. The tables have turned, and this time, they are turning in your favor. You've walked through seasons where it felt like no one noticed the weight you were carrying. You sowed in silence, labored without applause, and gave with a heart full of faith while wondering if it was all seen. Let me assure you now, nothing you've done in secret was ever hidden from me. Every act of love, every moment of endurance, every quiet surrender became a divine ripple. And now, what you released in hiddenness is reaching places you haven't even imagined. There are conversations happening right now where your name is being spoken, not as a suggestion, but as a solution. People you've never met are hearing about you, and doors you didn't knock on are beginning to swing open. This is not coincidence, it's alignment. I have been preparing hearts to recognize what I've placed within you. I've been weaving your story into circles of influence that are now turning their attention in your direction. You don't need to promote yourself to be positioned. I've already gone ahead of you, placing your name into atmospheres where it will be honored, not just heard. The work you've done quietly is about to produce recognition, not rooted in pride, but in purpose. What you carried with grace is now attracting favor, not because of status, but because of substance. I have preserved you for rooms that will appreciate your presence, not exploit your gift. These mentions are temple praises, they're divine endorsements. I've stirred hearts to remember you, to recommend you, and to reach for you at just the right time. You don't need to fight for visibility. The oil I've poured over your life is fragrant enough to announce you without fanfare. You weren't overlooked. You were being intentionally hidden until the right environment could receive what I've refined in you. Understand this. Your preparation has created a fragrance that can't be ignored. You've been consistent in your integrity, faithful in your assignment, and obedient in the unknown. That kind of heart cannot remain unnoticed forever. I've seen to it that what you carry will be sought after, not because of popularity, but because of power. The very essence of your calling is drawing connections that are saturated in purpose. Right now, in rooms you've never entered, your name is sitting on the edge of destiny's table. There are decisions being made that will directly impact you in the days ahead. And I have placed your identity on the lips of those who hold keys you didn't know existed. You will not have to chase these moments. They will find you, and when they do, you'll know it wasn't manipulation or chance. It was me going before you, speaking on your behalf. You've always believed I was working on something. Now you will begin to see the evidence in undeniable ways. Invitations will come. Opportunities will appear. What once felt out of reach will now arrive at your door. Not as a test, but as a testament. These are not favors from people. They are fulfillments of promises I whispered to you long ago. The ones you dared to believe even when there was no sign of progress. So do not be surprised when honor finds you. Do not shrink back when rooms open unexpectedly. I have prepared you for this moment, not to impress, but to impact. Your voice matters. Your presence carries weight, and the reason your name is rising now is because your spirit has remained grounded in me. I've ensured that pride cannot follow you into these new places, only purpose. This is the season where you step into fulfillment without foreseeing anything. You will see the fruit of favor that's been growing quietly. You will hear your name where you never thought it would reach, and you will know it wasn't your influence that placed it there. It was my intention. Now lift your head. What's coming is not random. It's recognition for what I've built in you, and the world is finally ready to receive it. I have seen the long nights when you asked me to make a way. You've carried hope in your heart with quiet strength, wondering how the things I've promised would unfold. You didn't chase connections or attempt to force outcomes. You simply waited with trust. And now, in response to your faithfulness, I am sending help. Not just anyone, but specific people. I've been preparing behind the scenes. People equipped with the authority, the influence, and the insight to open what has remained closed. You see, your prayers have never floated away unanswered. They've been carried to me like incense, and every word has stirred movement in heaven. You may not have seen much happening yet, but even when your hands were still, I was assigning people to carry out answers on your behalf. These are not just companions. They are carriers of breakthrough. They are coming not to take from you, but to pour into what you've been building in faith. They know nothing of your silent battles, but they've been stirred by my spirit to recognize the weight of your assignment. Your steps have been aligned with your season. They will bring clarity, resources, strategies, and divine wisdom. These are the ones I've hidden in plain sight, just as I've hidden you, waiting for the precise moment to cross paths. They don't come with empty promises. I come with keys. You've done everything you were called to do, praying, sowing, standing firm, even when it felt like nothing would shift. Now it's time for you to receive from the hands I've prepared to carry what you couldn't reach alone. I'm not just blessing you with moments. I'm blessing you through people, and these people have been entrusted with a portion of your miracle. You won't need to persuade them to believe in you. Their hearts will already carry recognition. I've spoken your name into their spirit. I've placed an urgency in them to support, to uplift, to accelerate what's been lying dormant. Where others couldn't understand your vision, these ones will not only see it, they will help structure it. They'll speak words that confirm what I've already whispered to you in private. They'll arrive carrying alignment, not confusion. This is not about networking. This is about divine orchestration. You didn't have to push your way into their lives. I've drawn their path to yours because of your obedience. You honored me when no one was watching. And now I am sending you those who will honor what you carry. They are not coming to change your identity. They are coming to serve its fulfillment. Do not be surprised when the timing feels sudden. That's how divine release works. It will seem like everything is happening all at once. But the truth is, this moment has been forming quietly for years. What you will walk into now is not accidental. It is the fruit of hidden preparation on your side and theirs. You both have been prepared to meet for such a time as this. Be open to the new faces I send. Some may not look like what you expected, but they are sent, not selected. They've been appointed, not applied for. Let go of the idea that you must do everything alone. I created you for relationship, not dependence on people, but for holy partnership. What I am building through you requires more than your effort. It requires collaboration ordained by heaven. So lift your eyes, child. Reinforcements are on their way. And with them comes provision, access, wisdom, and strategy you didn't even know you needed. You don't have to search for them. They are already coming. And when they arrive, you will recognize them, not by title, but by the peace and purpose they carry into your life. This is what happens when I answer prayers, not only with promises, but with people. I saw you in those hidden hours, when your tears fell without words and your heart trembled under a weight you couldn't explain. The world may not have known, but I was there, closer than the breath in your lungs, collecting each tear like a sacred offering. What you thought was breaking you was actually birthing something eternal. I didn't turn away. I didn't delay. While you were overwhelmed with sorrow, I was already at work crafting a story that would redeem every moment you thought was wasted. Grief can feel like an ending, but in my hands, it becomes the soil where glory takes root. You didn't cry in vain. Every sob, every silent ache became the ink I used to write a story so beautiful that only heaven could compose it. You thought nothing was changing, but I was writing in real time. Even in your weakness, I was weaving restoration into the very fabric of your circumstances. Redemption doesn't wait for your healing to begin. It grows inside your pain. I saw you whisper, "Why?" more times than you can remember. I heard the exhaustion in your prayers and the questions that never made it past your lips. But I wasn't waiting for you to be strong. I was working through your surrender. Your brokenness didn't disqualify you. It became the very reason my mercy flowed in waves. While you sat in the ruins, I was building a future that would not resemble your sorrow but would rise from it. You believed it was all falling apart, but I was actually putting together something far greater than you asked for. Redemption doesn't erase the past. It transforms it. I never ignored what happened to you. I saw it all and I responded, not with wrath, but with a plan to make the ending far more glorious than the beginning. I wasn't just watching your pain. I was answering it in the language of purpose and restoration. There were days you couldn't speak, so I carried the prayers your spirit didn't have strength to utter. You were not alone in the ashes. My angels stood guard. My hand held you upright, and when you could no longer walk, I lifted you across terrain meant to destroy you. Every scar, every crack became the evidence of survival, and now those same marks are being written into symbols of victory. You see, your story isn't about how much you endured. It's about what I did while you endured it. I was preserving you from bitterness. I was protecting your softness. I was guarding your hope like a flame in the storm. And now that the winds have settled, you'll begin to see what I was constructing during your most fragile hours. I've been preparing a testimony that carries weight, not because of perfection, but because of resilience shaped by grace. This next chapter will deny your weeping. It will give it meaning. What was once too painful to revisit will become a wellspring of hope for others. I am giving your sorrow a voice and your healing a platform, not to expose your weakness, but to display my power. What once made you feel invisible will now become the very place where others encounter me through your life. You don't have to pretend those days didn't happen. I don't erase the valley, I redeem it. I bring life from barren places. I breathe again into a film too far gone. And what I've written while you wept will soon rise in your life in the form of favor, peace, and an unshakable knowing that I was always near. So wipe your tears, child, not because the pain never mattered, but because it's been answered. You are walking into the unfolding of a story heaven wrote with compassion, with intention, and with promise. And when you see how it all comes together, you'll understand every tear had a purpose, and every moment was accounted for in the masterpiece I was writing the entire time. I know how shattered you felt when everything seemed to collapse at once. I saw the moment your heart cracked beneath pressure that felt unbearable. The dreams you held so tightly suddenly slipped through your hands. What you believed was your path crumbled beneath your feet. And in that breaking, you wondered if it was all over, if that was the end of your story. But I want you to hear me clearly now. It wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something far greater. What fractured your peace didn't finish your purpose. The pain that felt permanent was never sent to destroy you. It was permitted to reveal me more deeply within you. There are things my glory can only reveal in places where human strength fails. In the breaking, I created space for beauty that doesn't just shine, it transforms. Your greatest collapse became the soil where my light took root in a new way. You see, child, when something breaks, it opens. And what opened in you was not emptiness, it was access. You may have felt like your heart was too wounded to carry anything of value again, but I was clearing room inside you for something eternal. The cracks in your soul became channels for my presence to pour through. I didn't ask you to be perfect. I just asked you to let me in, and you did. Even when everything inside you was trembling. Do not confuse the breaking with abandonment. I never walked away from you. I entered into the very depths of your pain and sat with you there. I didn't rush your healing. I honored your grief. And while you were trying to hold yourself together, I was gently shaping something holy within the fragments. What you thought was lost forever is being returned. Not in its old form, but in a new way that carries my fingerprint. That moment when you said, "I can't take any more," at the very moment I began to rebuild you. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. I wasn't asking you to be strong, I was becoming your strength. I didn't demand answers, I offered comfort. And now, from the ruins you once feared, my glory is rising. Not just around you, but within you. This story I'm writing through your life isn't just about recovery, it's about resurrection. You are not coming back as the same version of yourself. You are emerging as someone deeper, stronger, softer, wiser. That breaking didn't destroy your destiny, it purified it. The false identities you were carrying fell off in the impact. And what's left is a heart that can carry my presence without pretending. You're not disqualified by your breaking. You're qualified by what you allowed me to do through it. Because you didn't harden, you didn't turn bitter, you let yourself be honest, you let yourself feel. And in doing so, you opened a door for my power to operate in its purest form, through vulnerability, through surrender, through trust that remains even when everything else has been stripped away. And now, as you stand again, you'll carry more than a testimony. You'll carry a radiance that can only come from surviving what was meant to take you out. Others will look and see strength, but you will know it's not yours. It's mine, shining through the places where you allowed me to rebuild you. That's what makes this different. It's not just recovery, it's glory revealed. So take heart, my child. That breaking was not your undoing, it was your unveiling. I allowed what you thought was your end to become the birthplace of a new beginning. You are not ruined, you are risen. And everything that tried to destroy you is now bowing to the beauty I've birthed in its place. This is my glory in you. Not just something you talk about, but something you live, breathe, and carry forward with quiet strength and unshakable purpose. I never needed you to explain the weight you've been holding. I felt it long before you could find the words. There were moments when your mouth remained closed, but your spirit was crying out in a language only I could hear. You carried burdens so carefully, not wanting to trouble anyone, not wanting to appear weak. You tried to be strong when all you really needed was rest. But nothing escaped me. Every silent ache, every invisible tear, every thought buried under the surface, I received it as a sacred offering. You didn't have to shout to be heard. Your quiet endurance echoed louder than any spoken prayer. And though you kept walking, kept showing up, kept pressing forward, I saw the weariness that settled behind your eyes. You spoke strength outwardly, but I felt the battle waging internally. You handled so much in solitude, thinking maybe it was better that way. But child, I was never distant. I was collecting your pain, not with indifference, but with divine compassion. There is no anguish you've carried that hasn't been recorded in heaven. There is no wound I've overlooked. While others may have dismissed your silence as strength, I recognized it as the cry of someone hoping I was still listening. And I was. Not one moment of suffering has gone unnoticed. Not one breathless night has been in vain. I took it all, and I've been moving in response long before you saw any change around you. You didn't need an audience for me to intervene. I respond not to performance, but to authenticity. And what you've shown me through your patience, your hidden tears, your quiet yes, has reached my throne like a fragrance more powerful than words. I am not unmoved by your silence. In fact, it has stirred me to action in ways you've yet to understand. What you couldn't say, I translated. What you didn't show, I saw. And I've already begun to respond, not just to relieve your pain, but to restore what was damaged beneath it. I'm not just sending comfort. I'm releasing a shift that touches everything connected to your sorrow. I'm repairing the unseen parts of you that were stretched too thin by invisible battles. I'm restoring your sense of safety, your trust and joy, your capacity to dream again. You didn't lose yourself in the pain. You discovered me there. And now, because you refuse to let go in the silence, I am lifting you into a season where your voice will carry the weight of what you survive. There's no need to pretend anymore. You don't have to hold it all together. I've come to lift the burden, not to increase it. The strength you used to survive the storm is now being exchanged for peace that won't need effort to maintain. You won't have to fight to be seen. I've already seen you. You won't have to beg to be healed. I've already begun mending what no one else could touch. And this response isn't just temporary relief. It's the beginning of a deeper renewal. I'm not patching the surface. I'm transforming the root. You will feel lighter, not because the world has changed, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. I've taken hold of what weighed you down, and in its place, I'm pouring a stillness that surpasses all understanding. This isn't just an answer to prayer, it's a response to pain. So breathe, my child. The silence didn't mean I wasn't near. It meant I was holding you in ways words couldn't describe. Now the time has come to lift your head. I heard, I have seen, and I have responded. And what flows into your life next will be so gentle, so personal, so profound, it will make you forget how long you waited. Because my love never ignores the cry that isn't spoken. And sorrow may have settled in for a while, making you feel as if it claimed a permanent place in your soul. It lingered in the spaces that were once filled with laughter, echoing through memories you couldn't relive without pain. You learned to carry yourself through days heavy with emotion, even when nothing around you acknowledged the weight. But what sorrow didn't realize is that it doesn't have the final word. I do, and I have already sent joy on a mission to locate the very place where grief tried to build its home. You see, sorrow tried to convince you that the light would never return, that your best days were behind you. It whispered lies in your lowest hours, convincing you that you would always feel this tired, this uncertain, this alone. But it misjudged the resilience I planted inside you. It didn't recognize that while it was speaking fear, I was already writing the next chapter, a chapter that begins not with struggle, but with rejoicing. I'm not just bringing joy to you, I'm sending it to find you. That means even in the places where you feel too empty to search, joy is already approaching. It knows your name, it knows where to go, and it carries no conditions. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to explain why you deserve it. You simply need to receive it when it arrives. This joy is not superficial or short-lived. It's rooted in something deeper, something eternal. It comes not to distract you from your pain, but to replace the sorrow that once defined you. This joy will not be loud at first. It will peer quietly, perhaps through the unexpected peace that settles over you one morning, or the smile that returns to your lips without warning. You might notice your laughter returning, not because everything is perfect, but because you are beginning to heal from the inside out. That's how my joy works. It revives what was considered unreachable. It rebuilds what was reduced to rubble. It restores color to the areas of your life that had faded into gray. And this joy I'm sending, It's not borrowed from circumstances. It doesn't depend on everything going right. It isn't waiting for your story to make sense. It springs from me. It is anchored in my presence, fueled by my goodness, and sustained by my promises. No loss, no mistake, no doubt. It will bloom in your desert. It will sing over your silence. It will rise above every voice that said your joy was over. I know how long sorrow has stayed. I know how many nights it kept you company, but joy is stronger. It carries the authority of heaven and the healing touch of my hand. It doesn't deny what happened to you. It simply says you're not staying there. Joy will not erase your story. It will redeem it. It will remind you that your soul was never meant to live in shadows. It will invite you to dream again, not cautiously but boldly. Soon you will feel not a wave of emotion but a steady lightness returning. You'll walk differently, speak differently, see the world through lenses not clouded by despair. And when that joy rises, you'll realize it was never lost. It was simply waiting for the right moment to return. My moment. The one I designed not to reward you for surviving, but to show you that sorrow never had the power to keep you bound. So be still now, my child. Don't strain to make it happen. I am sending joy with purpose. It knows where to go. It's on its way to meet you in the exact place where pain once ruled. And when it arrives, it won't just stay for a moment. It will dwell with you, grow with you, and walk with you into everything I've prepared. Joy is coming, and this time, it's here to stay. I have watched as the words of others tried to define you. Some were whispered behind your back, others spoken with boldness, unaware of the wounds they left behind. You carried those words in silence, unsure of how to respond, unsure if anyone saw how much they stung. But I saw. I heard every false accusation, every distorted version of your heart that others chose to believe. And I want you to know those voices are about to be silenced, not by vengeance, but by truth. You don't have to fight to prove yourself. You don't have to correct every misconception. I have been your defender all along. While others tried to speak over your destiny with doubt and limitation, I have been preparing a moment so undeniable, so unmistakably orchestrated by me, that every lie will be swallowed by undeniable evidence. The moment you're stepping into will not need an introduction. It will carry my justice with it. This isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. You kept your peace when it would have been easier to speak back. You chose grace when your name was dragged through shadows. You remained still, not because you didn't hurt, but because you chose to trust that I saw everything, and you were right. I never needed you to defend your worth. I needed you to hold your posture while I arranged something far greater than any rebuttal or revelation. The truth of who you are, your integrity, your faithfulness, your heart, will now rise above every false narrative. You don't need to address the past, because what I'm unfolding in your present will become your loudest answer. The blessings I'm pouring out will speak louder than explanations ever could. The transformation I'm releasing will silence every whisper of doubt, every opinion formed in ignorance, every label that never belonged to you. This moment isn't just about vindication, it's about elevation. I'm placing you in a position that can't be questioned, not because of status, but because of fruit. Your life is about to bear results that are so evident, no lie will be able to compete with them. I'm surrounding you with clarity, confirming your value in ways that even your critics can't deny. Those who once doubted your potential will have no choice but to witness what happens when I lift someone who remained faithful in the storm. And this won't be a moment of pride. It will be a moment of peace. Not because you will see your name cleared, but because you will see my hand glorified. You'll understand that it was never about proving your innocence. It was about preserving your purpose. You'll see that I didn't just protect your reputation. I protected your identity. and now I'm revealing it in the light, not for validation, but for testimony. You'll walk into rooms where your character speaks for itself. You'll be recognized not because of how loud you shouted, but because of how quietly you endured. I am turning the tables in a way that feels gentle but firm. Every false assumption is being crushed under the weight of my truth. Every label they placed is being peeled off by my love. And what remains is the real you, refined, whole, and radiant. So lift your head, not with arrogance, but with assurance. You no longer need to explain your path. The moment I've prepared will do the speaking. Let those who misunderstood watch and wonder. Let those who misjudge reflect and learn. Your journey is no longer clouded by their words. It's illuminated by my favor. And when that moment comes, and it is coming, you'll feel the release. You'll realize those words never defined you. I did, and I am faithful to finish what I started in you. Every lie will be hushed, every shadow dispelled, because I have spoken, and what I say about you will always outweigh what anyone else ever dared to utter. There were moments when you wondered why others were stepping into the light while you remained tucked in the shadows. You questioned the seasons of silence, of feeling unseen, of doing good without recognition. You asked me quietly, why not now? Why not me? And I understood every ounce of that longing. But I want you to know your hiddenness wasn't punishment. It was protection. It was intentional, deliberate, and covered by my wisdom. I wasn't withholding from you. I was preparing what you would step into. Just as a seed must rest in darkness before it pushes through the surface. Your time of obscurity was not a sign of delay. It was the foundation for your emergence. What you were becoming couldn't be right if I had brought you forward too soon. The weight of visibility would have crushed what I was still cultivating within you. There's a sacred purpose in seasons where no one is watching. That's where your character was being built. That's where your heart learned how to stay pure, even when applause was absent. You were overlooked. You were being preserved. You were being shaped to carry something that can't be easily shaken. Had you been exposed before the roots were deep enough, the winds of expectation could have uprooted your calling. My timing is not built on popularity. It's anchored in purpose. I saw where I was taking you, and I knew exactly what kind of strength you would need to endure it, to carry it, to grow within it. So I tucked you away, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. I surrounded you with grace, with growth, with lessons that no crowd could teach. I led you to be unseen by people so you could be seen by me. What was happening behind the scenes mattered far more than anything external. While others raced ahead, I slowed you down, not to hold you back, but to keep you steady. I wasn't interested in short-lived recognition. I was writing a legacy, one that couldn't be built on shortcuts or performance. What's coming into view now isn't a sudden arrival. It's the quiet unfolding of something sacred that has been growing for a long time. And now, because you embraced that hidden season with humility, I'm bringing you forward. Not for approval, but for assignment. This unveiling isn't about you being seen for the sake of attention. It's about me revealing through your life what faithfulness looks like, what integrity produces, what obedience births. You are stepping into a moment that's been tailor-made, not because of the spotlight, but because your soul is ready. The platform you're entering doesn't define you. It confirms you. It reflects the inner strength forged in those unseen years. You won't crumble under the pressure because your identity isn't tied to the attention, it's anchored in my voice. And now that the timing is right, the unveiling will feel natural, like a door opening, not by force, but by favor. What once felt distant is now drawing near, and this time, you're not striving for it, it's arriving for you. You don't need to announce yourself. My favor will do that. You don't need to validate your journey. Your fruit will speak for itself. What's emerging is not flashy, it's steady. It's not loud, it's undeniable. And the ones who watched from afar will realize this didn't happen overnight. My beloved child, what I've spoken into your spirit today is only the beginning. There is more I want to reveal, more comfort to pour into your weary places, more strength to breathe into your waiting heart. You were not led here by accident. This moment was divinely timed, and the next one will be too. So return here. Come back to this space often, not for answers, but for my presence. Because every video, every message I whisper through this channel carries fresh manna for your journey. Subscribe, not just to a channel, but to the flow of my voice in your life. Turn on the notifications so that when I speak again, your spirit will hear it without delay. Leave a comment below, let your heart respond to me. I read every one, and if this word reached you, share it with someone else. Be the miracle they've been praying for. You are never alone. You are always seen, and I will speak again soon right here. So come back. Your next revelation is already waiting. I love you, and I always will. Amen.